Hello out there, everyone. Welcome. It's a special late night session, late night live stream. Gonna let a few people into the room. Who knows how many people are awake right now? Felt I wanted to go live and talk about this even for a little bit. I think it's important. So I'm gonna go live. Hello, everyone. Hello, Sandy. Just saying hi, letting people join the chat. How's the lighting? Is it a little better this way? Maybe it's a little better this way, so I'll do this. That seems a little better. Welcome. I'm giving people a couple seconds to join here. Hello, Word Guy and Chris and Andrew and Ion Mars and all you people joining. Hey, I think that's Mom there. Hey, German Mike. Hey, Rocky. How you guys doing? Just letting people fill up. I know some people want to watch us, so give people a few seconds. Won't wait too long to start. Letting some people join. Special late night session. Figured somebody might be awake. Want to cover this news that it's been mainstream media's going gaga over for the last 3 hours, and I want to just give an alternative coverage of it. And actually, I thought I had something important to say about it, which I'll say in a second. So just again, some people are joining. That way, I don't have to repeat myself. Hello, Foreigner. Hello, Ophir for Trump. Hello, Matt. Hello, Jacob Seals. How are you? Good to see you again after so long. Avenue and Intrigue of Intrigue. How are you? How are you, Scott? A few people are still joining up, so I'm just going to wait a second. Just waiting a few seconds here before I start. So welcome all of you for joining this special late night live stream. Appreciate you staying up and joining me for this. I want to talk about this news that came out and why I think the mainstream media is completely wrong about it. And it's just, if you've watched me before, you know one of my pet peeves is when people don't do the 5 minutes of basic research they should do as professional journalists when covering a story. They don't do the 5 minutes of basic research they should do, which if they did it would actually affect how they cover the story because it would say something important. And this to me is a perfect case. So let me just first cover what this big breaking news was that came out tonight, just in the last couple hours, in case you haven't heard it. So the big quote-unquote breaking news that came out about Jeff Sessions in the last couple hours was this. During Jeff Sessions' confirmation hearing, there was the following exchange with Al Franken. Now note that I'm not going to give you the context of the exchange yet. I'm going to give you that later. But the context was, taken out of context, Al Franken said, I'm going to read it to you. If there is any, so Al Franken's talking to Jeff Sessions during Jeff Sessions' confirmation hearing. And Al Franken says, quote, if there is any evidence that anyone affiliated with the Trump campaign communicated with the Russian government in the course of this campaign, what will you do? And as Jeff Sessions answered Al Franken by saying this, Senator Franken, I'm not aware of any of those activities. I've been called a surrogate at a time or two in that campaign, and I did not have communications with the Russians, and I'm unable to comment on it. So, basically, as the media reports it, as the mainstream media reports it, Al Franken asked Jeff Sessions if he'd ever had contacts with the Russians during the campaign, and Jeff Sessions said no. That's what the mainstream media is reporting. And tonight, there was clearly another leak because it came out from some source in the Justice Department, like Justice Department officials say. So, but the mainstream media isn't covering. They're not covering that part of it because no one cares that leaks are actually always happening from the Justice Department and the CIA now or wherever else. So no one cares about that story because that's not important that there's leaks coming out. Anyways, there's a leak that came out tonight, but they're not reporting it as such. All the reporting is just that it was revealed tonight that somebody in the Justice Department revealed this information, that Jeff Sessions actually met with the Russian ambassador to America twice during the campaign. And the two meetings were like once it was like I think it was Republican convention, and a bunch of people came up to Jeff Sessions after a speech to talk to him. I can get you, it's not that important, but I can even say what exactly it is. Yes, so it was the Republican National Convention, and a bunch of people came up. Where is it here? Oh, no, this is it. There was a Heritage Foundation event at the Republican National Convention, and Jeff Sessions made a speech, and then a bunch of ambassadors came up to him after, and he talked to all the ambassadors one by one. So that was one of the two times he talked to the Russian ambassador, and the other time was, I think, late in the year in November. He had a meeting with the Russian ambassador in his office. So basically, the mainstream media tonight and the Democratic Party, a lot of them, are in this giant uproar, because what they're saying is look, Al Franken asked Jeff Sessions in his confirmation hearing, he said, "Hey, Jeff Sessions, did you meet with anyone from did anyone from the Trump campaign meet with the Russian government?" And you said, Jeff Sessions, you said that you never met with anyone from the Russian government. But you're clearly lying now, because this leak, which they don't report as a leak, but this leak from the Justice Department says that you had these 2 meetings with people in the Justice, with somebody in the Russian government, namely the Russian ambassador. So the mainstream media is freaking out about this. Also, just so you know, 3 prominent Democrats have called for Jeff Sessions to resign. Now, a bunch of Democrats have said he should recuse himself from the investigation into Trump administration or Trump campaign contacts with Russia, whatever. But a few of them have said he should resign over this. Can you guess who the 3 are? Well, the first 2 should be pretty easy. Well, I don't know. They're easy if you really know the congressman, but when I tell you, they'll make sense. The first 2 are Elijah Cummings and Elizabeth Warren. They called for Jeff Sessions to resign over this. And the third one is Nancy Pelosi, who seems to be rather going from the head of her party to the extreme wing of her party recently. So anyways, those 3, Pelosi and Cummings and Warren, all called for Jeff Sessions to resign. But there's this everybody's freaking out over this and stuff. And so, again, the basic story is that's being reported in the mainstream media is Jeff Sessions told Al Franken, when Al Franken asked Jeff Sessions if anyone from the Trump campaign had contact with the Russian government, Jeff Sessions said no, but clearly he lied because he had 2 meetings with the Russian ambassador. Now, just so you know, there's a lot more I could go into, but I'm trying to get through this background fast. Sessions himself did, sorry, I'm leaning over to pull this up on my Twitter here. Sorry, so you can see my shirt and my tie. But Sessions himself did release a statement tonight, and it said, I'm trying to get it up here, sorry, but it basically said something like, I was asked attorney said, this is General Jeff Sessions' statement tonight. He said, "I never met with any Russian campaign officials to discuss issues of the campaign. I have no idea what this allegation is about. It's false." So Jeff Sessions says it's false. The allegation's false. And the White House came out with a statement saying this is just an attempt by the Democrats to distract from the good speech. Actually, I'll tell you what the White House statement is. Why not tell you what it is before I get to my big point here? Sorry, you can see my tie again. This is what happens sometimes when I'm doing this late at night. So this is the White House statement was, "This is the latest attack against the Trump administration by partisan Democrats. Attorney General Sessions met with the ambassador in an official capacity as a member of the Senate Armed Services Committee, which is entirely consistent with his testimony. It's no surprise Senator Al Franken is pushing the story immediately following President Trump's successful address to the nation." Now, I want to get all these other issues aside because there's one main issue I want to focus on here. Okay? So everybody's freaking out because they're saying, basically, go on Twitter and you'll see all these prominent journalists, not even just Democrats, but mainstream media journalists are like, "Sessions clearly lied to Al Franken, and he's going to say he didn't lie, but he lied, and something nefarious is going on because he said he never met with the Russians, and he was asked if he met with anyone from the Russian government, and he clearly did, which is clearly a lie." So, all right, so there's lots we could talk about, but here's the issue I want to focus on is why I think the mainstream media has this utterly wrong, because once again, they didn't do the 5 minutes of basic research to actually do some background on the story they're reporting for several hours. So when I heard the story, the first thought I had was, okay, all we're hearing in these reports is the one question Al Franken asked Jeff Sessions in the hearing. But we're not hearing any of the hearing before that. So it's possible to me that this question was taken out of context. Because if you want to understand why Sessions answered Al Franken the way he did, you need to kind of know what was being said in the hearing before this question. What were they talking about in the hearing before this question? And I figured, I had a hunch, maybe if we heard a little bit before this question that Al Franken asked, it would make sense why Jeff Sessions answered the way he did. So remember, this is the exchange. Let me give you the exchange, because this is what everybody's freaking out about, okay? This one exchange, this one question and one answer between Al Franken and Jeff Sessions, this is what everybody's freaking out about. So Al Franken asks if there is any evidence that anyone affiliated with the Trump campaign communicated with the Russian government in the course of this campaign, what will you do? And Jeff Sessions says, Senator Franken, I'm not aware of any of these activities. I have been called a surrogate at a time or two in that campaign, and I did not have communications with the Russians. So that's what everybody's freaking out about. But I wanted to know, what were they talking about before this that would make Jeff Sessions think it's okay to say, yeah, I had no communication with the Russians? Like, what did he really mean? So I actually, unlike all of the mainstream media that I've seen, CNN and whoever, all these people, countless well-known journalists on Twitter who are freaking out about this and is angry at Sessions and everything, and saying that he's evil and all that stuff. So I did the basic research, and I went online and I found the recording of the Franken-Sessions exchange. And what I saw is I went back before this one question and I saw what they were talking about before, and I saw I heard something very interesting. I heard what Al Franken was talking about right before he asked this question, and I'm going to play it for you right now. It's only like 30 seconds long, okay? So right now I'm going to play you the 30 seconds of what Al Franken said. It might even be less than that, but it's what Al Franken said right before he asked the question to Sessions that everybody's reported on. So he asked Sessions about people from the Trump campaign communicating with the Russian government. But here's what he said right before that. So this is what Jeff Sessions has in his mind. Okay, I'm assuming you can hear this. I'm going to play this loudly. Hopefully my neighbors don't get mad at me. But here is what Franken was saying right before he asked this question to Jeff Sessions. You ready? Here we go.
These documents also allegedly stated, quote, there was a continuing exchange of information during the campaign between Trump surrogates and intermediaries for the Russian government. Now, again, I'm telling...
Okay, this is right before. Let me play that again. It's only like 10 seconds. Let me play this again. So again, this is what Al Franken is talking about right before he asked Jeff Sessions the question about contacts between people in the Trump campaign and people in the Russian government. Ready? This is what he says right before that. I'm going to play it again.
These documents also allegedly stated, quote, there was a continuing exchange of information during the campaign between Trump surrogates and intermediaries for the Russian government.
Stop. What is Al Franken talking about there? He's talking about reports that had just come out that day that there was communication between surrogates for the Trump campaign and, here's the key phrase, intermediaries for the Russian government. Intermediaries for the Russian government. So Al Franken is talking about this report that said some people who worked for the Trump campaign talked to these people who were like go-betweens. Intermediaries are go-betweens. So Al Franken is talking about this report of communication between people who work for the Trump campaign and go-betweens who were coming from the Russian government and then talking to the Trump people and then supposedly going back and talking to the Russian government. And right after he says that, that's when Al Franken says, if there is any evidence that anyone affiliated with the Trump campaign communicated with the Russian government in the course of this campaign, what will you do? Now, when Jeff Sessions hears this question, what is he thinking about? Well, he's thinking about what Al Franken said right before. He's thinking about when Al Franken says if there's any evidence that anyone affiliated with the Trump campaign communicated with the Russian government, Al Franken was just right before asking this question talking about this report of Trump surrogates talking to intermediaries, talking to go-betweens. So when Jeff Sessions hears Al Franken ask this, the logical thing for him to be thinking is Al Franken's asking me, am I aware of anyone in the Trump campaign talking to some intermediary, talking to some go-between, some person who's like relaying messages from the Russian government to the Trump surrogates and from the Trump surrogates to the Russian government? And Jeff Sessions says no. Jeff Sessions says, Senator Franken, I'm not aware of any of those activities. activities seems like an appropriate word here if we're talking about people running back and forth between the Russian government and the Trump surrogates. So Jeff Sessions says, Senator Franken, I'm not aware of any of those activities. I've been called a surrogate at a time or two in the campaign, and I did not have communications with the Russians, and I'm unable to comment on it. So, to me, given that Al Franken, right before asking this question, not 10 minutes before, right before asking this question, he was talking about this proposed scenario in which the Trump surrogates were talking to intermediaries who would then go back and talk to the Russian government, and the Russian government would talk to these intermediaries, and they'd go back to talk to the Trump surrogates. Given that this is what Al Franken was talking about, Jeff Sessions denied it, because Jeff Sessions says he wasn't aware of anybody from the Trump campaign talking to intermediaries. Now, Jeff Sessions it's true that Jeff Sessions, let's assume it's true, let's assume that these reports are true, that Jeff Sessions had 2 meetings with the Russian ambassador during the campaign. That the Russian ambassador isn't an intermediary for the Russian government. He's in the Russian government. He's not an intermediary. If you meet with the Russian ambassador, you're not meeting with an intermediary for the Russian government. You're meeting with somebody in the Russian government. So it makes entire sense that if Al Franken is talking about this scenario in which Trump surrogates are meeting with intermediaries for the Russian government, and then right after that he says, hey, Sessions, is there any evidence, if there's any evidence that anyone affiliated with the Trump campaign communicated with the Russian government, it makes sense that Sessions would interpret that as, oh, Al Franken is asking me about the thing he just talked about, which is Trump surrogates communicating with intermediaries for the Russian government. So even if he met with the ambassador of Russia a couple times in the previous year, that would give him no reason to say yes to that question. So to me, if you go back and you do the 5 minutes of research, which I did, this did not take a long time. It took me 5 minutes to find the video because it's kind of hard. It's not clear. It should be easier to just go search Franken Sessions hearing, but it's not. Trust me, it's not easy to find this actual interview, this actual back and forth between Sessions and Franken. But it took 5 minutes. Once you find it, all you have to do is listen right before the question Franken asks, but no one's reporting this. So you'd think with all of the mainstream media resources, CNN spending all hours reporting on this tonight, all of these professional journalists who get paid to do this, they're spending all this time tonight tweeting in anger. Nancy Pelosi, Elizabeth Warren, all these Elijah Cummings are all calling for Jeff Sessions to resign. And all these people whose profession it is to be journalists or to be in the government can't spend 5 minutes of their time looking up for themselves this Franken Sessions exchange and seeing what came right before the one question that they've taken out of context, and seeing that if you look at that question, it makes perfect sense that Jeff Sessions would answer the question the way he did, even though he met with the Russian ambassador, because you look at the context of the question. So anyways, that's what I'm angry about. That's the point I wanted to make. I just think this isn't reporting. It's like CNN has hundreds of millions of dollars. They can't pay an intern to go look up this video before they go on and talk about this for a couple hours. It's angering to me. Also, this one other point I'll add about this. I want to hear if you have anything to say about this, and it's late, so I won't go on for too long. But the one other thing I just want to say, and I've said this again, I don't get what the left and the Democrats and everybody who's all in an uproar about this Russia stuff, what do they think happened? People are all like, Jeff Sessions met during the campaign with the ambassador in his office. What do they think happened? Do they think Jeff Sessions hatched this plot with the ambassador to hand over American secrets to the Russians? Do they think Jeff Sessions was hatching this plot to help the Russians break into the election machines or the computers tabulating the elections? It's never explicitly said what people who are angry about this Russia stuff think President Trump and Attorney General Jeff Sessions actually did. And there's this weird unsaid implication that they were plotting some evil betrayal of the United States, which sounds to me like a giant conspiracy theory that seems outrageous to me. Anyways, I don't know. I would like them to get specific about what they think happened, because there's just all of these nefarious overtones about what happened, and I really don't know what they actually. I want to know exactly what. I want to know what they exactly think happened. I want to have them say it and then have them tell me, do you think that's really plausible? Anyways, those are my thoughts on this. But the basic point I wanted to make was that I just think the story is just so shoddily reported. And if people don't take the 5 minutes to do basic research that they could do, that would actually show why maybe Jeff Sessions said what he did, and why it's not so nefarious that he said what he did, and why we shouldn't immediately assume that Jeff Sessions lied in his answer to Al Franken, which plenty of people are saying right now. Okay, I want to know before I go off, if you have any comments on this. Hey, if you have any comments, feel free to direct message me at Twitter right now in the next few minutes. You can direct message me at Lookner. That's my Twitter, at Lookner, at Lookner. I'll stay here for a couple minutes. If you have any questions about this, if you have any comments, maybe you have some comments about the Sessions news. It was just getting me angry watching it tonight, and it was like breathless media reporting on this. And go on Twitter and see how they're reporting it. And just people are freaking out over this, saying he should resign, and saying like he's a liar, and saying like this shows that the Trump administration was in bed with Russia and plotting something evil. Who knows what during the campaign? So I don't know. So I want to know if you have any thoughts on this. Lolita Dickinson writes, the left and the mainstream media, same thing, should apologize to Senator Sessions. That's what Lolita Dickinson says. Lolita, I agree they should apologize just for not doing the basic research. They should say, hey, Jeff Sessions, we apologize for taking this exchange out of context. Isn't that just like basic journalism 101? You don't pull one question and one answer out of a long hearing and a long discussion and a long interchange between two people without at least examining the context of it. But they did, because they're bad journalists, one, because I think they're just itching to get something bad on Trump, two, because a lot of people, I think, in mainstream media, it's no surprise they hate Trump, and they're just looking for any story that's bad about him. So anyways, if any of you other people have any comments on this, please direct message me while I'm still here, late night, at Lookner, at Lookner on Twitter. Follow me if you feel like it too, so you can hear me rant more about this. So I'm not seeing any comments now, but I will give people a second to comment. I'd love to hear what you think about the story. Maybe you think I'm wrong. If you're wrong, let me know. Direct message me on Twitter, at Lookner, at Lookner. Otherwise, I'm going to sit here and say, hey, here we have a message here. This is from Henoch79. Henoch79 says, this better not turn into another Flynn scenario. I think this was a desperate attempt to change the narrative because of Trump's amazing speech. So Henoch79, I want to point out that second thing you said. This is what the White House is saying. So clearly this was a leak. To me, it came from the Justice. Somebody leaked this information tonight about this ongoing counterintelligence investigation, which I would think shouldn't be leaked. The White House and you, Henoch79, are saying, suspicious that a day after President Trump gives his speech, which even a lot of Democrats praise, and it's like seen as one of the high points of his administration, we have this convenient leak. Interesting. Maybe you're right, Henoch79. So thank you for your contribution. Let's see if anyone else has any. Dina says, didn't this ambassador end up dead in New York last month? No, this was not the ambassador. The one who died was the UN ambassador, Vitaly Churkin. This is a different person than that, Dina. But thank you for your question anyway. Let's see. Other questions or comments? Direct message me at Lookner. I'd love to hear what you're thinking about this story. Bobby Ray says, you should post the video with the question before the one the media is running with in full. They did it to fit their narrative. With the first part you played, it don't. Oh, you know what? I will. Hold on. I'm going to do that. So I'm writing myself a note. Hold on. Post video. But if you want to see this video, I'm going to give you can write it down now. I will tell you right now where to find this video. If you go to YouTube and you search, it's called Al Franken Grills Sessions on Allegations Trump is Compromised by Russia. So basically, I think if you Google Al Franken Grills Sessions, you should get this video. It's 2:26 long, and you got to go about like 35 seconds in. So anyways, that's how to get the video for yourself, and you can see the question he had. You can see this part of the video I just played for you. You can see for yourself. Let's see. If anybody has any other questions you'd like me to read, or comments, if you have any comments on this you'd like me to read, I'd love to hear from you. While we're still up late night, let me know. But if you want to do that, direct message me at Lookner, because I'm looking at my Twitter right now. I'm not looking at the fast feed. So please go to Twitter, direct message me at Lookner, at Lookner. I'll stay here for a couple more minutes. If people have comments, if people don't have comments and don't want to listen to me anymore, I won't stay for a couple more minutes because I won't keep annoying you. But would be interested in hearing what you have to say about this story. And also it's like this thing that people keep grasping at. They won't let it go away. So hold on here. I want to make sure also somebody didn't email me. Once in a while people email me, so maybe you emailed me. I'm looking. Give me 1 second. No emails. So I have no emails, no comments, no questions. I do have an email, a comment. This is from Putin's Hacker, at Putin's Hacker. The name is Skypey Podesta. Skypey Podesta writes, saw a playbook tweet after Flynn with a list of names to be crossed off one by one of resignations. Plus, Sessions has been bustling over 1,500, it says, pedorings, and pedogate is why they're freaking. Human child organ trafficking is big DC money. You do know all about this, right? My name reflects that Russia hysteria. Okay, I will say on my part, I haven't seen personally convincing information about this whole pedogate, pizzagate thing, but it is your choice, and it's your opinion, and you are allowed to say it, and I will read it here as something you said. You are allowed to have your opinion. We do not tell you what to think here at Right Side Broadcasting. So, Skypey Podesta, thank you for your comment on this. Any other comments here? Let's see. DL Maloney sent me something. So this was a statement, and thank you, DL Maloney, I didn't read before. This was from Sessions spokeswoman Sarah Isgor Flores. And Sessions spokeswoman said earlier tonight, there was absolutely nothing misleading about this answer. Last year, the senator had over 25 conversations with foreign ambassadors as a senior member of the Armed Services Committee, including the British, Korean, Japanese, Polish, Indian, Chinese, Canadian, Australian, German, and Russian ambassadors. He was asked during the hearing about communications between Russia and the Trump campaign, not about meetings he took as a senator and a member of the Armed Services Committee. And D.L. Maloney says they'll try to make a big deal out of it, though. So D.L. Maloney thinks they're unfairly trying to make a big deal out of this. Thank you, D.L. Maloney, for that. Chris Wasson says, good night, Steve. Good night, Chris. Thank you for saying good night. Let's see here. Deplorable Me says, I see this as another propaganda-like distraction to expand the anti-Russia, anti-Trump campaign being pushed by the liberal elites. I will say, the more I see these Russia stories, and the more really there's no beef that comes out behind them, the more I start agreeing with you, Deplorable Me. Was there anything revealed that General Flynn talked about that was nefarious that he talked about with the Russian person he talked to? I didn't hear anything nefarious come out. I just keep hearing these leaks about that these communications happened, but I never hear what the communication is of, and this keeps happening. Let's see. If you want to get any last comments, would be happy to read them here. What you're thinking about the story. Direct message me on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner. Feel free to follow me while you're there, because I like tweeting out about this stuff and I like hearing your feedback. Let's see. I'm checking here if there's any more. This is from Akara3, who's also called QB. And QB says, Trump's only mistake is firing Flynn. This Russia story is all the Dems now. Flynn firing showed weakness so long as they don't make the same mistake. Interesting perspective, QB. And one other question that's going to come up here, and this will be talked about tomorrow, is a lot of people who aren't calling for Sessions to resign, which is absolutely nutty in my opinion, are calling for him to recuse himself from the investigation that is happening in the Justice Department over the Trump administration, Trump campaign communications with the Russian people, whoever they might be. So some people are saying, well, Sessions should recuse himself because now he's part of the investigation. He's going to be investigated because he had communications with the Russians. President Trump, perhaps QB, he thinks like you. Perhaps he thinks like, you know what, I gave them Flynn, but I don't want to cave at all on Sessions. So maybe President Trump will go hard line on this and not want Sessions to recuse himself. We'll see. I'm sure this will be talked about tomorrow. By the way, I had heard that President Trump is supposed to be giving us some sort of speech tomorrow. So we'll try to carry that if he is. Also, it will be interesting to see if President Trump tweets about this at all. I'm guessing he will tweet about this. I'm guessing it'll be before daybreak. 4 a.m., 5 a.m., or maybe later tonight. Let's see if he does. I see some people wrote some stuff in, so I'm going to get to that. Dina says, Dina sent me a tweet from somebody from Move On, who you probably love, MoveOn.org, saying Move On is planning a protest. Well, I don't know if Move On is planning it, but the Move On person sent out this tweet saying, come to this protest demanding that Jeff Sessions resign, noon at the Department of Justice. So here we go. Everyone's demanding Jeff Sessions should resign because he supposedly lied under oath. And as I just explained, and I'm not going to explain it again, but feel free to go back to the beginning of this video if you didn't hear me explain it. If you look at the context of what Al Franken was saying before he asked him the question, it was entirely understandable that Jeff Sessions answered it the way he did. So, anyways, go back and watch the earlier part of the video if you didn't see that. Thank you, Dina. Let's see here. We have Tavares Davis says, my question about this is how they will try to tie this to votes and more they cannot. Trump will stomp them tomorrow. But first, your question is how they will tie this to votes, and more. I guess maybe your question, Tavares, if I'm reading it right, is I think you're saying something like, if Sessions had these meetings with the Russian ambassador, how will they try to tie this? It sounds like maybe you're saying, how will they try to tie this meeting to actually what the votes that happened in the election? Are they saying like Sessions tried to work out this plan with the Russian ambassador to like manipulate the vote? I don't know. This is the question because the people who have been on this whole Russia connection accusation bandwagon never fully really explain what they think what was going on and being planned between President Trump's people and Russian people. And it sounds sort of nefarious, but they never want to say what it is. Why? Because I think if you actually do say, part of me thinks they don't want to say why because if you actually do say why, it sounds kind of nutty and they don't want to actually be on the spot. Be actually put it into words what they're actually thinking, their crazy conspiracy theory. That's just my opinion. Anyways, let's see. Al Parks says, the Russia narrative appeared during the Brexit vote. The EU is heavily invested in the narrative, as is the DNC. Thank you, Al Parks. Another message here from Tavares. Tavares says, Davis says, correct. These people come like they have a list and want to remove Trump inner circle one by one. So something we didn't talk about tonight much, and we won't, because it's late, we won't spend much time on this. But a whole other thing we can talk about is the fact that no one seems to care that these leaks keep coming out, and they're coming out from the isn't it a problem that the Justice Department people inside there are leaking this stuff, leaking these supposed. I'm guessing if it's a counterintelligence investigation, which it was supposed to be, into like Russian interference, this shouldn't be public information right now, and somebody's just giving it to the Wall Street Journal or whoever. Isn't that a problem? But the mainstream media never seems to cover that part of the story when they. At least tonight, I watched a couple hours of coverage. I didn't see any coverage of the leak part of it. No one seems to care. That's not important. We don't care. Let's see if anything else here. Any other comments? So, all right. I'm going to end very soon, because I got to get up early to go to work. And I know you probably have to, get up early to go to work or do whatever too, unless you're like halfway around the world and you're going to bed soon, or I don't know, and you're in the middle of work or whatever. Anyways, but if you want to make any last comments, direct message me at Lookner, at Lookner on Twitter. Feel free to follow me as well. That's at Lookner, at Lookner. I will give it another minute or so. Thank you to the moderators for moderating the chat while we are on, and moderating as usual. Let's see here. Deplorable Me says, Hillary Clinton repeatedly lied under oath and ran for president. Sessions' actions are not even comparable. Thank you, Deplorable Me, for your comment. Bobby Ray says, the Obama holdovers deep state are behind this. They want to control the narrative because Trump's poll numbers were going up after last night's speech. That scared the Democrats. Thank you, Bobby Ray. QB says, this Sessions story is nothing. It's designed to distract from Trump's successful speech. So a bunch of you think that's going on here. The White House apparently thinks it too, because their release tonight said that. Tavares Davis says, honestly, I don't think it's a leak. When Obama realized Hillary lost the election when she got sick in September, she had her boys and crew gather data on Trump and everyone to have her file. So that is Tavares Davis's opinion here. Okay, all right. I think it's about time. I got to make myself go to bed because I got to get up tomorrow to cover some more news. But I thank you all for joining me on this late night live stream. I didn't know if anyone was going to be around and awake at this time. So I hope you enjoyed it. And what else do I got to say? Thank you for watching. Thank you to the moderators. We will have more coverage for you of this tomorrow if it's going on. I'm sure it'll be going on. Maybe President Trump will make remarks about it in his speech tomorrow. I believe he's making a speech. Maybe he'll tweet about it. Never a dull day here. I thought I tweeted before that this was like the slowest news day of President Trump's administration so far, but I didn't wait till the end of the day, and all this stuff came out. So we'll see what happens. Anyways, thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Heart of Dixie and Jason Thornton and JC and all you people. Anyone else want to say hello before I go off? Fake news, you late night people, Deplorable D, Let It Snow. Thank you for joining me in this late night chat session. Who else? Anyone else? Ophir for Trump. Anyone want to do a quick shout out? Real quick, Eon Mars, Heart of Dixie. Oh yes, subscribe. Please subscribe to Right Side Broadcasting if you haven't. And also click on the bell so you get notifications about our videos. So you can get notified about videos like this. Candy W, thank you. Anyone else want to say a quick hi? I'm about to go, but I want to say hi to you if you're out there. I'll give you a shout out. I'll give you Mary Kim, thank you. JC, thank you. Who else? Suiko2Fan2, hi. I see some new people, so that always makes me feel good when we see new people tuning into the network. William S., thanks. Have a great night. Mike Floyd, goodbye. Jason, thanks again. Sandy, thank you. Heart of Dixie, thank you. Let's know, thank you. All right, I think that's about it for the goodbyes. Looks like that's it. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Appreciate you being here. Probably see you tomorrow at some point. But appreciate you guys tuning in. Wanted to give you some alternative coverage to all the coverage that I'd seen tonight. Thank you, and thank you for all your comments, as usual. Okay, thank you for watching Right Side. Thank you, moderators. Have a great night or great morning since it's 12:07 Central Time right now. We will see you. Word Guy, thank you. We will see you soon. Have a great one. Take it easy.